You stand at the edge of a storm, the sky darkened by clouds heavy with grief and uncertainty. Around you, the world seems to crumble. Relationships fray, prospects vanish, and the future blurs into an indistinct shadow. In these moments, when the weight of loss presses down and your spirit feels raw and exposed, a quiet voice within whispers a question. How do you endure when every part of you wants to surrender? This question is universal. Every soul, at some point, encounters a season so harsh it threatens to break the very foundation upon which they stand. It's in these crucibles that we face not just the external chaos, but the internal battle, the struggle to hold on when hope flickers faintly, barely visible through the fog of despair. You are not alone. The ache you feel, the loneliness that seems to echo endlessly, is a shared human experience. Yet, within this shared pain lies a path, not out of suffering, but through it. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. These words from one of history's most revered Stoic philosophers do not offer empty comfort. They reveal a profound truth. Adversity is not a dead end, but the very road you must travel to grow stronger. The obstacles before you are not simply barriers. They are the forge in which your resilience is crafted. Imagine for a moment that life's hardest seasons are like winter's harshest days, barren, cold, seemingly endless. Yet beneath the frozen earth, seeds lie dormant, gathering strength, waiting for the thaw. So too does your spirit gather its strength in these times of trial. The Stoics, ancient sages who faced their own storms of exile, war, and loss, teach us that endurance is not mere survival. It is an active, vibrant process of transforming suffering into wisdom, chaos into clarity, and despair into hope. Their philosophy offers more than Stoic silence. It offers a roadmap to prevail. When life challenges you, it tests the very core of your being. It strips away illusions and confronts you with reality, raw, unfiltered, and often harsh. You might feel as if you are drowning in a sea of troubles, each wave threatening to pull you deeper. Yet, within this tempest lies an opportunity. The Stoic path begins with this acceptance. Suffering is inevitable, but its meaning is not fixed. It becomes what you choose to make of it. This choice, the decision to endure with grace, is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Consider the image of a mountain battered by relentless storms. It does not crumble. Rather, it stands firm, shaped and strengthened by the very forces that seek to erode it. So must you stand, rooted in your values and unyielding in your spirit. The ancient Stoics lived in a world often more brutal than ours, yet their teachings remain timeless precisely because they address this elemental truth. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. You may wonder, how is this possible? How can suffering become a source of strength rather than defeat? The answer lies in perspective, the lens through which you view your trials. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who bore the immense burden of leadership amidst war and plague, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight is not a call to detach from life's pain, but an invitation to master your response to it. When external chaos reigns, your inner fortress becomes your sanctuary. The Stoic framework teaches that while you cannot control every event, you can control your attitude and actions. This mental discipline is not about denying pain or hardship, but about embracing the reality that suffering is part of the human journey. It is the ground upon which you build resilience. In this way, the hardest seasons of life serve a dual purpose. They challenge your limits and simultaneously reveal your capacity to endure. Each trial becomes a lesson, an invitation to cultivate a deeper strength that is not dependent on circumstance. The weight of hardship can feel isolating. You might think you are the only one walking this difficult path, yet history reminds us otherwise. Stoic philosophers, despite their elevated stations, wrestled with loss, fear, and uncertainty. Their writings are not abstract musings, but lived experiences, reflections forged in the fires of adversity. They teach us that suffering, when met with courage and reason, is a teacher of profound truths about the human condition. You are invited now to see your trials not as punishments or misfortunes, but as the very means through which your character is refined. The Stoics remind us that life's difficulties are not obstacles to avoid, but the very tools that shape us into who we are meant to become. This perspective does not diminish the pain you feel. Instead, it transforms the pain into purpose, the struggle into strength. When life challenges you, it strips away everything superficial, exposing the essence of your being. It asks, what remains when all else is lost? The answer lies in your resilience, the unyielding spirit that refuses to be broken. This spirit is cultivated through a conscious choice to endure, to persevere, and to find meaning amid chaos. It is the quiet, steadfast flame burning within, guiding you through the darkest nights. The journey through hardship is never easy, nor is it swift. It demands patience and courage in equal measure. But, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the very thing that obstructs your path becomes your path. You are called not to avoid the storm, but to walk through it with eyes wide open, knowing that each step forward is an act of victory. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. This is the essence of endurance, a resolve that does not waver, a spirit that does not yield. In embracing this truth, you transform from a passive victim of circumstance into an active agent of your own destiny. You become the architect of your resilience, the master of your fate. So, as you face the storms ahead, remember this: you are not alone, and your suffering is not in vain. It is the crucible in which your strength is born. The path through hardship is the path to profound growth. The Stoics walked this path long before you, and their wisdom lights the way for all who dare to endure. **** Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. Let this truth settle deep within you. When life challenges, when despair threatens, when the night feels endless, know that within you lies a strength waiting to be awakened. Endure. The journey has begun. When life challenges you, it often feels like an unrelenting storm, battering your resolve and shaking your foundations. Yet, the Stoics believe that hardship is not an enemy to be feared or avoided, but a natural and necessary part of life's unfolding. It is through these trials that our character is purified and our true strength revealed. Pain, in this philosophy, is not simply something to endure. It is a teacher, harsh, uncompromising, yet invaluable. The discomfort you face is a catalyst, awakening a deeper part of yourself that is otherwise dormant. It calls you to mastery over your inner world, to a freedom that no external circumstance can take away. Imagine Epictetus, born a slave and later crippled by injury, living centuries ago under the harshest conditions. His body was confined, but his mind roamed free, vast, unshackled, sovereign. He taught that the only true power lies in your response to what befalls you. When he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," he revealed a profound secret. External misfortune can never enslave the spirit unless you allow it. Epictetus's life itself is a testament to this truth. Though a prisoner of circumstance, he found liberation within. When you feel crushed by events beyond your control, remember that your response is your realm of power. Seneca, another towering figure in Stoic thought, wrote extensively about suffering and virtue. For him, obstacles were not merely impediments, but openings, opportunities to cultivate courage, wisdom, and resilience. He believed that enduring hardship awakens latent strengths, turning each challenge into a stepping stone toward deeper humanity. In his words, "Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men." This metaphor speaks to the transformative power of difficulty. Just as gold is purified by flame, so too is character refined by trial. Each hardship you face is a forge, burning away weakness and revealing the noble core beneath. When you feel diminished or broken, consider that you are being shaped into something stronger, more resilient. This understanding shifts the narrative from victimhood to empowerment. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to see hardship as a necessary crucible. It is the process by which the raw material of your life is molded into something enduring and valuable. The Stoics remind us that pain is not a sign of failure, but a pathway to growth. The resilient do not shy away from suffering. They welcome it as a companion on the journey to wisdom. But how do you cultivate this perspective amid the chaos? How do you train your mind to embrace hardship rather than recoil from it? The answer lies in mental discipline, a daily practice of reflection, acceptance, and conscious choice. The Stoics cultivated this through constant mindfulness, questioning their judgments, and reminding themselves that what truly matters is within their power. Seneca advised, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This insight invites you to distinguish between your fears and actual events, to see that much of your pain is amplified by your thoughts rather than facts. By mastering your mind, you shrink the power of external adversity. You create a space where suffering loses its sting and becomes manageable, even meaningful. Epictetus's teaching offers a practical framework. Divide life's events into those you can control and those you cannot. Your will, your choices, your judgments. These are within your sphere of influence. Everything else, the actions of others, the course of nature, fate, lies beyond. When you focus on what lies within your power, you reclaim your agency. You build resilience not by changing the world, but by transforming your relationship to it. This mental framework is not passive acceptance, but active engagement. It calls on you to meet hardship with courage and reason, to adapt rather than resist, to persist rather than despair. The Stoics did not romanticize suffering. They acknowledged its difficulty. Yet, they recognized that enduring pain with wisdom is the path to true freedom. Consider the image of a tree bending under the weight of winter snow. It does not break. It yields with grace, preserving its core strength until the storm passes. So too must you learn to bend without breaking, to accept what cannot be changed while holding firm to your inner values. This balance between acceptance and action is the heart of Stoic resilience. It is the dance between what life demands and what your spirit commands. Stoic philosophy offers more than abstract wisdom. It provides practical tools to transform your experience of hardship. Regular reflection on impermanence and adversity, a practice known as premeditatio malorum, or the anticipation of misfortune, prepares you for life's inevitable blows. By mentally rehearsing challenges before they arise, you diminish their power to terrify or overwhelm you. This exercise fosters calm and courage, allowing you to face adversity head-on rather than fleeing from it. You may ask yourself, what if the worst does come? What if loss, pain, or failure visit my doorstep? The Stoics encourage you to meet this question with readiness, not dread. Seneca counsels, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for things he is not, but rejoices for those which he has." This gratitude grounds you, shifting focus from fear of loss to appreciation of the present moment. When you cultivate this mindset, resilience grows. You learn to navigate life's storms with steady hands and a calm heart. The resilient are not those untouched by hardship, but those who have learned to transform adversity into strength. They embrace suffering as an essential chapter in the story of becoming. Your trials are invitations to join this continuum of human endurance. They call you to rise, again and again, with a spirit unbroken and a mind clear. Remember the words of Epictetus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom begins not in changing the world, but in mastering your inner domain, your thoughts, your judgments, your will. This mastery is your fortress against despair. It is the source of your unshakable strength. When life challenges you, you stand at a crossroads. You may choose to see suffering as a burden too heavy to bear or as a forge that tempers your soul. The Stoic path invites you to choose the latter. You are called not merely to survive, but to transcend through endurance. This is the secret of the Stoics, that hardship, when met with reason and courage, becomes the foundation of true power. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. The resilient know this as their unspoken truth. Your journey through pain is not a detour, but your path. Walk it with eyes open, heart steady, and spirit unyielding. The fire of adversity burns away what is false, leaving behind the essence of your strength. Let this flame guide you forward. The seasons of hardship have a way of revealing who we truly are beneath the surface. It is in exile, in loss, in the quiet moments after the storm that resilience is born. not as a fragile hope, but as a steadfast force within. History offers us vivid portraits of those who faced turmoil yet stood resolute. Consider the Stoics themselves, men and women thrust into exile, political upheaval, and personal tragedy, yet they met these trials with a calm serenity and unwavering purpose. Their lives teach us that endurance is not weakness, but a profound expression of inner strength. Take the example of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, who bore the immense weight of empire during times of war, plague, and betrayal. Despite the chaos swirling around him, he maintained a steady mind and compassionate heart. His meditations are not mere reflections, but a testament to a soul tempered by adversity. He wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, for it requires being prepared to meet and withstand sudden and unexpected attacks." This metaphor captures the essence of resilience, readiness to confront life's blows without flinching, to adapt and persist with grace. The Stoics practiced a mental exercise called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of misfortune. This practice involves imagining possible difficulties before they occur, allowing the mind to prepare, reducing fear and surprise. By envisioning loss, rejection, or hardship, they build a fortress of calm within. When you anticipate adversity, you no longer face it as a stranger, but as a familiar visitor. This familiarity dulls the sting of suffering and strengthens your resolve to meet it head-on. Epictetus urged his students to focus their energy where it counts, not on controlling the uncontrollable, but on mastering their own responses. He taught that freedom comes from aligning your will with reality, accepting what cannot be changed, and acting with wisdom where you can. This alignment is the root of resilience. When you accept the hand you have been dealt, you conserve your strength and channel it into what truly matters: your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Imagine a river flowing steadily despite the rocks and falls in its path. It does not resist the obstacles, it moves around them, carving new routes, shaping the landscape over time. So must your spirit flow, adapting to life's realities without losing its essence. The resilient do not waste energy fighting what they cannot change. Instead, they adapt, persist, and find purpose amid difficulty. This acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. On the contrary, it demands courage. The courage to face reality without illusions, to endure suffering without bitterness, and to choose action over despair. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This challenges you to step into the arena of hardship with boldness, knowing that daring to endure is itself an act of victory. The practice of premeditatio malorum also cultivates humility and gratitude. By contemplating loss and misfortune, you become more mindful of the preciousness of what you have. This awareness deepens your appreciation and softens the blow when difficulties arrive. Gratitude and acceptance walk hand in hand in the Stoic path to resilience. Together, they transform suffering from a source of despair into a wellspring of growth. The stories of Stoics in exile illustrate this beautifully. Banished from their homes, stripped of status and comfort, they found solace not in external circumstances, but in the sanctuary of their minds. They cultivated an inner citadel where peace and purpose endured beyond the reach of fortune. Their example calls you to build your own fortress of resilience, a place within that no hardship can breach. You might ask, how do I build this fortress? How do I train my mind to anticipate hardship without succumbing to fear? The answer lies in daily practice, through reflection, meditation, and the deliberate shaping of your thoughts. By regularly contemplating the impermanence of all things and the inevitability of change, you develop a mental agility that prepares you for life's blows. This practice does not harden you into coldness, but fortifies you with clarity and equanimity. Epictetus reminds us, don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events as they come, and you will find peace. This radical acceptance frees you from the tyranny of expectation. When you welcome life's unfolding, even its harshest chapters, you find a strength that transcends circumstance. As you endure, you discover that resilience is not a solitary endeavor. It is woven into the fabric of human experience, shared by those who have walked before and those who walk beside you now. The resilient do not deny pain. They embrace it as a forge for character. They do not seek to avoid suffering, but to meet it with open eyes and steady hearts. Through the practice of premeditatio malorum, acceptance, and focused action, you learn to navigate the unpredictable currents of life. Your spirit becomes like the oak, deeply rooted, flexible in the wind, unbroken by the storm. This is the victory the Stoics offer, the triumph of enduring with grace, the mastery of your inner world amid external chaos. Strength grows not in comfort, but in challenge. The resilient find in adversity a mirror reflecting their true nature, strong, capable, and unyielding. When life challenges you, remember the lessons of those who endured before you. Walk through the fire with courage, knowing that each trial is a step toward deeper strength. You are invited to embrace the Stoic warrior spirit, to face life's hardest seasons with calm determination and unwavering purpose. In doing so, you discover the profound truth that enduring hardship is not defeat, but the path to your most authentic, resilient self. In the midst of hardship, solitude often becomes an unwelcome companion. The world may retreat, and you find yourself alone with your thoughts, your pain, your fears. Yet, the Stoics understood solitude not as a punishment, but as a crucible, a sacred space where true self-reflection and growth occur. When life strips away distractions, it lays bare the essence of your being. It is in these quiet moments that you confront your true self, stripped of pretense and distraction. Solitude reveals the contours of your character, the strength of your spirit. Seneca, who spent much of his life in exile and isolation, wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." In solitude, you gain clarity. The noise of the world fades, leaving space to examine your fears and beliefs. This mental stillness is not emptiness, but fertile ground for cultivating peace and wisdom. The Stoics practiced mental training to meet fate calmly and with strength. This discipline involved mindfulness, observing your thoughts without judgment, simplicity, focusing on what truly matters, and endurance, embracing discomfort as a path to growth. These practices prepare you to face life's storms with a steady heart. They transform solitude from loneliness into empowerment. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword, hammering it repeatedly while it rests on the anvil. Each strike shapes the metal, strengthening it, refining its edge. So too does solitude, with its moments of quiet reflection and endurance, shape your mind and spirit. Through this process, suffering becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. You learn to meet pain with acceptance, to observe your reactions, and to cultivate resilience. Epictetus counseled his students to turn inward, to find refuge within their own reason and virtue. He said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." In solitude, you discover this internal fortress, a place untouched by fortune, unshaken by misfortune. This inner sanctuary is not built overnight. It requires daily practice, patience, and courage. It means sitting with discomfort, observing your thoughts without fleeing or resisting. Solitude invites you to become your own mentor, your own guide. It is in this quiet companionship that wisdom grows. The mental discipline of endurance is central to the Stoic path. It is the willingness to face suffering without avoidance, to bear hardship with dignity. The Stoics trained themselves to expect and accept difficulty, not as punishment, but as a natural part of life's rhythm. This acceptance breeds serenity. Consider the image of a calm lake, reflecting the sky above. When storms come, the surface ripples, but the depths remain still. Solitude offers a similar refuge, a calm center beneath life's turbulence. Through mindfulness and reflection, you learn to maintain this inner stillness. Your mind becomes a steadfast harbor, welcoming whatever waves arise without being overwhelmed. Solitude also fosters clarity of purpose. When distractions fall away, you confront essential questions. Who am I beyond my circumstances? What kind of person do I choose to be in adversity? These reflections cultivate a grounded sense of self, rooted in values rather than fleeting emotions. Seneca reminds us, true happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Solitude nurtures this presence. It teaches you to live fully in the moment, to find contentment amid uncertainty. Enduring life's hardest seasons in quiet reflection deepens wisdom. It reveals the strength that arises not from external validation, but from internal harmony. As you cultivate this inner peace, you become less swayed by fortune's fluctuations. Your resilience becomes a calm force, steady and unwavering. The Stoic discipline of mental training transforms suffering into self-improvement. It empowers you to meet fate with courage and grace. In solitude, you learn that you are more than your pain, more than your trials. You are a spirit capable of enduring, growing, and prevailing. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. Solitude is the quiet forge where this strength is tempered. You are invited now to embrace solitude not as isolation, but as a powerful space for growth, a place where your true character is revealed and refined. When life challenges you, turn inward. Find refuge in your own reason and virtue. In this sanctuary, cultivate the calm endurance that transforms hardship into wisdom. Through solitude and reflection, you emerge stronger, clearer, and more grounded, ready to face whatever comes with steady heart and unshakable spirit. True victory lies not in the applause of the crowd or the fleeting triumphs of fortune, but in the quiet endurance of the soul. It is the steadfastness to prevail through hardship with grace and unwavering resolve that marks the Stoic ideal. When pain and struggle come, as they inevitably do, they are not merely obstacles but the raw materials of transformation. Each trial endured becomes a stepping stone toward a profound personal metamorphosis, a forging of lasting strength and character. Marcus Aurelius, who carried the burdens of empire with a heart both heavy and humble, reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the essence of Stoic victory. The very hardships that threaten to halt you become the path you must walk to transcend limitation. You are more than circumstance. Your power resides not in controlling what happens to you, but in mastering how you respond. This mastery is the source of true freedom and enduring peace. The Stoic warrior spirit calls you to face life's hardest seasons with courage and dignity, knowing that every challenge endured is a victory of the spirit. Consider the image of a blacksmith hammering a blade over and over. The blows do not weaken the metal. They shape it, strengthen it, prepare it for its purpose. So too does hardship shape you, forging resilience and wisdom. Each moment of suffering met with grace is a strike upon the anvil of your character. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This truth connects struggle to growth, pain to power. The resilient do not merely survive. They transform adversity into a foundation upon which their lives are rebuilt stronger and wiser. The journey of endurance is not a passive waiting for suffering to pass, but an active embrace of the process of becoming. It is a commitment to cultivate inner strength through every trial, to find meaning amid chaos. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal, a life lived with purpose, grounded in virtue, and fortified by resilience. Remember that resilience is not an innate trait reserved for the few, but a quality cultivated through deliberate practice and choice. It grows in the moments when you choose to keep going, when you refuse to be broken. You are called to this strength now, to meet your hardships with the unbreakable spirit of the Stoic warrior. Pain, loss, and struggle are inevitable, but they are not your end. They are the crucible in which your character is tested and refined. In enduring them, you discover a wellspring of strength that carries you beyond suffering. This is the victory that endures beyond circumstance, the triumph of spirit over adversity. The resilient do not seek to avoid pain, but to harness it as a catalyst for transformation. They understand that true power is born from endurance, that lasting peace arises from acceptance and action. Your trials are not punishments, but invitations. Invitations to rise, to grow, to prevail. As you face life's hardest seasons, remember this. You are not defined by your hardships, but by your response. You are more than your suffering. You are the strength that rises from it. Endure with grace. Prevail with courage. Let your spirit be unshakable. Strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but you keep going anyway. This is your truth, your power, your path. Embody the Stoic warrior. Stand firm in the face of adversity. Know that through endurance, you forge an unbreakable character and find lasting peace and fulfillment.